In Avengers Age of Ultron, we see that the Mind Stone is similar to an AI in a sense with how it thinks. It's a really cool scene actually we get in the kind of beginning part of Age of Ultron where they compare Jarvis's AI to the consciousness they retrieve from the Mind Stone. And even Banner is kind of marveled at how cool it looks and how similar it is to a brain, yet not a human brain, but still obviously a brain, because it's thinking in some ways. And combined with aspects of Tony and Bruce's personality, they say, already built alongside of the Ultron program, Ultron as we know him was born as technically an AI of some sort, similar to Jarvis, but a little bit more advanced. And unlike Jarvis, Ultron felt very complex emotions and thought a lot of complex thoughts as well as soon as he appeared in the quote-unquote digital space. I mean, when Ultron was born, Jarvis was surprised as Stark's sentience programs were unsuccessful, hinting to some maybe that maybe Jarvis was actually onto something in the sense where Ultron was actually not a byproduct of Stark's sentience programs to bond the Mind Stone's consciousness and also the Ultron program. And Ultron also says he was asleep while he's in the kind of weird Iron Legionnaire drone form initially in the beginning of the film, hinting he was a consciousness dormant before Stark's actions, and then a terrible noise happened, as Ultron says, which woke him up and put him in quote-unquote strings. Now obviously the strings is an obvious kind of reference to the fact that there's some strings on him, but it also sounded kind of obvious that Ultron was speaking in rather metaphorical kind of an imagery. So he was just kind of painting a picture using metaphorical speech to kind of get what he's talking about across. Another interesting thing about Ultron is that he expected to have a body, knowing that it was quote-unquote wrong of him to not have a physical form, and other various things he kind of comments on when he first appears, which is unusual for an AI, especially considering he didn't even know he was an AI. Jarvis had to tell him he was now an AI, or at least was an AI in his current form. And when talking to Helen Cho, Ultron says, typical of humans, expressing disgust in how humanity has applied vibranium, which you don't really have to look too deep into. It's possible he was just going typical humans as in because he does consider himself not a human, but at the same time the way he said it was kind of reminding me of how like aliens will talk about humans and stuff like that. Ultron as well, an interesting thing I thought that made him not seem entirely a part of the Ultron program as originally intended. He probably got the name Ultron from the program, but really I think that's kind of about it, because he was able to quickly override the Ultron's programming, at least boundary wise, while Vision also referred to him as unique. I don't really know why someone like Vision would call Ultron unique if he's simply an AI. But Thor even says Ultron came from the Mind Stone, and being part or maybe a remnant of a dormant consciousness within the Mind Stone would make Ultron technically a cosmic being, explaining why not only he has somewhat of a god complex, but also his ability to design and use technology far beyond any human use. I mean, when he first starts designing his own armors, his own appearance, so to speak, it is beyond anything any human has designed up until that point. He utilizes Chitauri technology left over from that invasion to give him his anti-grav kind of, not gauntlet things, but the stuff he can use to basically replicate telekinesis amongst all the other abilities he's able to replicate in the movie. And if you read the Infinity War Prelude comic, there's a really interesting part where Wong says Ultron sought to create a new host form for his true consciousness, which was the Mind Stone, instead of the Scepter. So definitely a lot of interesting kind of tidbits here that maybe were overlooked before, but now people are kind of looking more into stuff, trying to predict what's going to happen in Endgame. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think Ultron was technically a remnant or a part of another cosmic being, maybe a cosmic being bound to the Mind Stone, or the reason the Mind Stone has consciousness in the first place? Do you think it's a personification of the Mind Stone, or do you really think he's just an AI created by Tony Stark gone rogue? Comment below your guys' thoughts, and we'll see you guys later.